Hey everyone, welcome to Love Your Body Podcast. I'm here with special guest Laura Schweizer. Is that right?
You said it right. Good job.
Awesome. And Laura is, if for those of you who don't know, the host of Local 2 at 2, right?
Local on 2.
Local on
Yep.
2, yes. And that was where I just went on a month ago and did a little Move Fit segment. So you saw her shaking her booty with me. Did you have fun with that one?
I had so much fun.
Yeah.
We need to do it again. I was sweating in the 1 minute that we did it.
Well, the fact that you were in a long dress, you're like, will this work? I was like, yeah.
And heels.
And heels. When you went for that squat, I was like, she's going for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's not modifying. She went down.
No
like,
holding
she
me
was like,
back.
yeah. And it was awesome. No, I loved it so much. I was like, this is for any body and any attire, anywhere, anytime. So that was great. But what was the best part that I loved was everyone else dancing too.
Yeah.
That nobody saw like on TV. You know what I mean?
I
But
know.
like that we're like looking at them. Like there was this guy, I don't know his name. I forget.
Kavarius or Jolly,
Yeah,
probably
Jolly,
both of
yes.
them. Yep.
And like just dancing. I'm like, get it? Like
Yes.
that was so cool. It was so hype. And everyone was so just appreciative to me to be there. And it was awesome. So I really enjoyed it. So thank you for having me on. That was great.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that was awesome. So how is that going? Like how did you tell everybody like a little bit like how you got into that? Are you from here?
So I am originally from Chicago, but
Okay.
with TV, you move around markets. So
Yeah.
you're basically trying to move up in size
Okay.
of market. So I started out actually digital media.
Okay.
I created this thing called fourcornerstv.com, and it was
Okay.
out of Durango, Colorado. It's a small mountain town.
Okay.
And so I would do, feature stories. I would go snowboarding, mountain, rock climbing,
Yeah.
whitewater rafting, and then I would also do a roundup of the local news. And it was owned by the Durango Herald, the newspaper there. So then after that, I thought, okay, can I move up and go to Denver? And I moved there and I applied to, I don't even know how many jobs.
Yeah.
No one got back to me.
yeah.
So I kept working at it by doing a lot of freelance work. So I'd
Okay.
work for the fashion magazine. I would host their Denver Fashion Week.
love
I would
that.
do behind the scenes videos. I did this Running Denver TV.
Okay.
While I was doing marketing jobs and
Right.
things
Just
like
doing
that.
all kinds of different
Yes,
things.
Yes.
How old were you at this point?
I was 23 or 24.
Okay.
And then, my goal was always, I want to live in Hawaii. I want to live in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
And
Why
so,
Hawaii? Was
why
there like a tie?
paradise?
Okay,
I loved
got
it
you.
there.
Okay,
Why
okay.
not?
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a job out there at KITV. It was the ABC affiliate out there.
No way.
And it was really, really, really hard.
Oh, okay.
It was hard for an outsider to fit in.
Okay.
But it was so humbling,
Yeah.
Truthfully, I haven't had a hard time fitting in my whole life.
Okay.
And I'm blessed to say that.
Yeah.
However, this experience in Hawaii was like, okay, I am coming back down to earth. I
Right.
need to just stay quiet, sit, listen, respect the culture,
Yeah.
and admit, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
So when I ended up getting the job here in Nashville, I worked for Good Morning Nashville my first year.
Okay.
Waking up at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Doing all the things.
Yes,
Yep.
doing all the things. But that's how, and when this job came about, they said, we're starting a lifestyle show. I said, okay, this is me. I love trending segments. I love feature segments. I love being part of the community.
Yeah.
And that this was the outlet. But I still wanted to be transparent. I'm not from here, but I respect the traditions. I respect
Yeah.
the culture that's been placed here. And yeah, I'm a newcomer, but there's a lot of other newcomers. And that's what I feel
100%.
like. That's what Nashville is all about.
Yes.
Marrying the two.
Oh, definitely. Well, I love that. So over the course of, when did you get your job here? What age were you? You were,
I was, sometimes I forget how old I am. It was 2021, so I was 31.
okay, gotcha.
Yep,
Okay, very
yep,
cool.
yep.
Okay. And so you've been doing that for a few years now, right?
Yep, we launched Local on 2 in September of 2022.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so funny because I saw it was hilarious because I constantly was seeing like people just like talk, like be on local shows. I'm like, I know them, 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 you know, all this stuff, whatever. And I was just like, this is wild. And so and that's where it was cool because I didn't realize like Danielle knew you guys and stuff like that. So then we were talking about that. She's like, you got to meet them, you know, got to go on there. And I was like, okay, like that sounds great. And so and she's such a light, you know, and so she was great on here as well. But so tell me, because again, you know, there's a common theme like boss babes, you know, around and we tend to kind of attract each other and everything like that. So with that experience of feeling like an outsider, you know, in that space, so you feel like you've now been able to look at things from a different lens, like when with this position?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I am kind of feeding off of what you said initially when we started this. We aim to make people feel like family and good friends and comfortable and highlight them, because really and truly this show isn't about me. It's not about the hosts.
Right.
It's about our guests. It's about this community and how we can make it better and just provide like a lighthouse for the community, solutions for the community, and just entertainment.
I love that. No, that's awesome. Like entertainment, like Move Fit, and like dancing around and like,
pure entertainment.
I love it. Okay. Well, very cool. So you said you were from Chicago, right? Okay. So was the whole, like, was this your goal all along? Like, you're like, I'm going to school for this. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, what was that like?
Danny, if I had my home videos from when I was, 10 years old, you'd be like, okay, yeah, she always knew what she wanted to do. I would have, I would set up my home video camera, with like the big tape inside and record shows. I would be a TV host. I was Barbara Walters with, interviewing Kate Winslet, who was my sister. And I mean, I was always focused. In high school, I joined, I was part of journalism and part of the school paper, because I knew if I could get my hands wet in this, then it would just teach me what I needed to know further down the line.
I love that.
And even that with when I was in Denver, I was like, okay, I'll take this marketing job, but I still know what I want to do. I wasn't really, I don't even think I was paid. I maybe like pennies for the freelance work that I did, but it was just always building up my experience and my reel.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love to see that kind of like, again, you were able to just grind and kind of figure out, where do I fit? Like, even if it's not exactly what I want to do, I'm going to figure out a way to get there.
Yes. And learn, soak up everything I can.
Yes. Yeah. When I was coming from college, and I worked at All Women's Healthy Living Resort in Vermont. And when I got back, I was at a corporate gym in Franklin. I got the in for that, an interview and whatever. And basically they ended up putting me like a membership. And I was like, I'm going to make the best out of the situation. And I'm going to soak up, like what you said, everything I can. I was doing like back of the house. I was folding towels. I was doing group fitness. I was doing water aerobics. I was doing, all the different things, planning an event for charity, like just all the different stuff to basically be like, I'm going to be a presence.
Yes.
You're going to see me. You're going to know who I am. And that way, when I want to transition to just do training, like there's already like a name, or you know what I mean?
You've
or
made an impact.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So I love that. And I definitely resonate with that. So are you an only child? Do you have other siblings?
Two sisters. I'm the middle child.
Okay.
They think I'm the problem child.
Really?
I like to think I'm the peacemaker. I'm joking. They're going to laugh when they hear this.
Yeah. So are they local here, or where are they at?
So my older sister, she now lives in Salt Lake City, and my younger sister is still in Chicago. And when I say Chicago, I do mean the Chicago suburbs.
Okay, gotcha.
Because everyone says from Chicago, they're like, no.
They're like, okay, I got you. Yeah. So, and your family's there, your parents are there as well?
My parents are in Chicago / Florida. They're, winter babies down in Florida.
I love that. Yeah. Very cool. I love that. So you were talking about before a little bit about you're seeing somebody now, right?
Yes.
Okay. How was that with coming to Nashville and trying to get to know people and stuff? Was that hard at first, or like, did you just like meet somebody off the bat? Like, what's all that?
No, to be honest, I have always in my like whole life so career focused. Yeah. I mean, clearly we've just discussed that, and I feel like over time, I realized, hey, you know, I finally got my dream job.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll open my heart a little bit more and
Right.
grow as a human being, my person, like who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And expand that. So I feel like once I was finally ready to, you know, open my life to it looking a little different, I'm still kind
Yeah.
of adjusting because it's still a little new.
It doesn't feel like natural, right?
It
kinda
feels
like,
yes. When I think, okay, do I still have my life? Yes, I still have my
Yes,
life,
of
Laura.
course.
Calm down.
Right.
But it is an adjustment when
Yeah.
your focus changes.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I asked that because a lot of a lot of people who come on here, like just in general because you're 30, how old are you right now? 30?
I just turned 34.
34. Okay, yeah. So it's like, in that age range of like dating is so hard and it's just like to find a good person and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But also a lot of the women that I train, like CEOs, boss babes, like entrepreneurs, like they're out here grinding, doing all these things. So it's almost like there was never time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when did you, I guess, like you felt like, okay, I have this stable like job. I feel good that I can open myself up. What was kind of like the stepping to like open yourself up? Were you like, I'm going to go join, what are they, intramural sports, or was it like I want to go to these clubs? Like what did you do?
If you really want to know.
Yeah, I want to know.
I went to see a hypnotherapist.
Okay.
And I said, I want to stop attracting people who are loser guys. I'm sorry. I feel bad saying that.
No.
To the public.
That's real, yeah.
But yeah, and she said back to me, this was before the session, she said, well, it's not about them. It's more so about changing you. And so before I went, I made a list of what do I need out of a person and what do I want. Yeah. And it was characteristics of, someone who's goal-oriented, driven, kind, caring. But the top of the list was I want to feel safe.
I love that.
I want someone to make me feel safe in the relationship, safe in life, moving forward.
Right. That's huge.
So I went to see a hypnotherapist.
I cannot believe that. I've never heard that. Of all the people I've interviewed and talked to, literally, I've never heard that. And that's so crazy cool. That's awesome. So so then what happened? You just met your man, like.
So the craziest part is, I don't know if you believe in this stuff, but I totally do. So I went to see the hypnotherapist, and I ended up going down to New Orleans, and I saw a psychic. Okay. So I mean, if anyone is listening, they're probably like, "This girl's a whack job."
No.
But I went to see a psychic, and she said, "You're gonna meet someone." They're older. They have their shit together.
Yeah.
Can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Safe space.
On here we can't.
Yeah.
And she said they have their shit together, and I just keep seeing kids. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So anyway, I met this guy, and he has a charity, and it's in Haiti. And while I'm interviewing, he was like, and the kids, and he's crying about the kids, and I'm like, what? What is happening?
Oh,
is this real?
wow.
And I ended up eventually telling him about that, and he said, okay, that is weird.
Right. That is crazy.
Yeah.
So, wait, what is his charity? What is it called?
It's called Change the Stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So he provides scholarships to kids. He is actually opening up a second orphanage. Food distribution.
Okay.
It's really incredible. You'll have to come to the event in September.
I would love to come to the event. That'd be awesome. If you need a move fit warm up, let me know.
There we go.
I'm all about it. But no, that's so wild. So I think that it's interesting, right? Because, so many people look at different things like this, right? And they look at manifesting, and we talk about that a lot here. I talk about praying, things like that. But I truly feel like what it really comes down to is until you are ready and until you were open for that, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that so many people sometimes just they maybe think that they're open, but they're really not, if that makes sense, to the possibilities. So there's because they really don't believe it can happen. Right. Yeah. I think everybody wants to be a millionaire, but they know secretly it can't happen maybe. And so either they tell themselves it can't happen, so they don't actually become that. Right. And so I feel like it's the same way when it comes to dating and stuff like that.
It's almost like you have to, I always talk about perspective, right? And if your perspective is holding on to hurt from the past, I believe that your heart is closed.
Right.
Then.
Yeah.
But if you look at, hey, I learned so much from all of my past relationships.
Yes.
And it's created me this person who I am today. That opens you up.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's beautiful. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I always say, turn the negative into a positive.
Yes,
and that's
I
what
love that.
Yeah. And that's what that means is like essentially is just looking at everything and saying, okay, yes, there was trauma. Yes, there was things that happened, but like that happened however long ago or that happened yesterday. It's in the past regardless.
And it happens for you.
Yes.
Right? For your healing, for your growth.
Yes. And we just talked about that on the podcast that we did. And so it was one of those things where like all the things I could look at things so negatively and be like, well, why this?
Yeah.
Why me? Why whatever, whatever. And it's honestly like, it's like, you just got to roll with it. Like you gotta roll with the punches, learn from it. If there's something to learn at the moment. And even if you don't find what it is in that moment, it will show its face later on.
Yes.
Like I knew why, like I got injured with strongman, like competitions, like I got hurt. And so like I had to like start all over, like, and so that was such a weird life to live in, right? Of being this like seen as a strong woman, this person and whatever. And then to go from like moving every day to the nothing.
Yes.
And so it was such a moment of like a shift in everything. And then feeling like, okay. And then on top of that, dealing with loss and stuff like that. So it's like, it all kind of hit. And then you kind of look at like, what could be the possible thing that's brought me joy, that's brought me whatever.
Yeah.
But also knowing that like, okay, my focus was elsewhere or this is, this or whatever. And just being okay with it,
And I think sometimes dreams change.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You can have a dream or an idea of what you want, but going back to the letting go, usually the universe has something way bigger in store for you, but it won't come to you unless you're open.
100%. Yeah, we were just talking about that. So that's exactly right. You're reading our minds. It's like you're just here. It's like you knew.
Hey, we're
you're
sisters.
you're the psychic. You're the one that knows, apparently. She gave you her powers and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, I like it. So since you've been in Nashville, kind of like, what's the vibe? Are you like, is it a house? Do you live in an apartment? So like, are you a part of any groups? Like, do you go do, like, what's kind of your thing besides work? Because again, I know that you're such a boss career path and I do want to talk about that more too. But I think it's important for people who are listening to know that you can do other things. It doesn't just have to be so focused and like, kind of burning the candle at both ends.
Definitely. So yes, I'm in an apartment in Germantown.
Nice.
Love the area.
Yes. Cool area.
But since I've moved here, one thing that's always been really important to me is service work.
Yeah.
And I think I saw the opportunity and I'll marry them two together because it is how it is.
Right.
With the platform that I have, I just wanted to highlight various charities and organizations,
Love that.
what they do, how they're giving back, but more importantly, what you get back when you do give back.
Right.
So when I go and serve at Nashville Rescue Mission, I mean, I'm there for an hour, but I'm still talking about it today and the feelings that I got and the eye contact and the conversations that I've had. I learned so much when I helped out at Community Resource Center and how, there's a lot of people who, pads, period products, they aren't covered by food stamps.
Yeah.
And so they package these materials and send it off to schools and other organizations, or like Nashville Food Project. Like food insecurity is a real thing. Your next door neighbor could be dealing with it. So I think the way that I like really felt like I was a part of this community was by giving back in those different areas because it opened my eyes to the different groups and different people that make this city up.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love
and
that
it
so
humbles
much.
you.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's another thing too. That's where like, so I actually just, have you heard of the Aruna project?
No.
Okay. So someone that came on the podcast connected me with this person, that's putting on, but they do them all over the US, but it's for enslaved women. And so it helps to like, basically like rescue women or that women that have been enslaved and stuff like that. And so it's really cool. And I think like you run, I could be saying this wrong, but I just got the sponsorship about it. But I think like you run for like that specific woman, and it's really cool. And so they actually asked if I wanted to sponsor, and I was like, well, would love to do a Move Fit, like warm up, do that, and kind of start off it's a 5K and start off the event. I did that for Jay Dunn's fundraiser that they did, and I've done that for the suicide prevention and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I've been doing lately of like, that's my give back. Cause I think Move Fit, I mean, you saw, it lights everybody up. Because, you know, people show up to a 5K could be nervous. They could feel uncomfortable in their body. They could be like, oh, I got to beat this time. I got to, you know, there's so many things, right? And even if they're coming for a good cause, or it could be their first time to movement. So what better way to see some girl up here shaking, dancing, and dance with her, have some fun, maybe have some laughs, and then like drink some fight energy, and then head on your, you know what I mean? And then head on your way and do that for something that's meaningful, right?
Well, I think you're so good at that too, because, you know, so I studied broadcast journalism, but my minor was sociology, which is the study of community. And I kind of took it because it was the least amount of credits.
Right. I
truthfully.
get that. Yep.
However, what I learned is that like I live for a community, and really every human does.
Right.
They want to feel a part of something. They want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. They want to be part of a group.
Right.
And you're so good at creating that in so many different facets that, you already created the community with just the warm up.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And I love that. So thank you for acknowledging that. That's so sweet. Because if a lot about my story when I was coming up is that like, I didn't, like I had a dance community, right? But I always kind of felt out of place or whatever. And then when I got into college, like I was so alone. It was like painfully aware of how alone I was. Like I didn't fit in with sorority girls. I didn't fit in with like any realm of my old high school friends. I just was like kind of a floater, you know what I mean? And it was one of those things when I started moving my body, and I was like, you know, I want to have some sense of community. And so when I was teaching classes, that's what that was. I didn't care, you know, who was in there or what it was, whatever, but I was like, when you're in here for this 45 minutes to an hour, we are going to get our movement in, like love ourselves throughout, you know what I mean? And like enjoy this, you know, enjoy this class. And so it started building from there. But I always felt so alone in my healthy lifestyle journey. I'm like, I can't be the only one that feels this way.
Yeah.
You know? And like, there's so many people. And that is where it's like, with Andy Fitness, that's what's been so huge, to see the community spread all over.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like grateful. I'm humbled. I feel like at peace with it. You know what I mean? And so that's been so cool. And so doing these like fun runs and the races and stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I look back at it a lot because I used to do the Children's Hospital, like the dance marathons and stuff. Love that. So I was the VP of events for them. So I would,
of course you were,
right? Yeah. And so I was like, okay, we got Move Fit, then we got this, then we got the clowns coming. You know, we're doing all the things, right? And my first time I actually went on the news was for them. The president couldn't come in and do it, so she's like, "Can you come in?" This is me, red lipstick. And in a shirt, and then like my makeup. Okay. And the lady was so nice, you know, she was so whatever. But I was like, you know, I just my face. I just remember it so vividly. I'm like, yep. So we're gonna do this, and then, like, you know, as I was just like, stop.
I can't even look back at my old videos. It's okay. I totally get it.
Yeah, it's somewhere on Facebook, and I'm just like, I laugh at it because I'm like, oh man, it's like come so far, like, you know, and anyway, and so you look back at those things, and it's just like those were so much fun, and those events were so cool and everything like that, and so it really interests me that you said that your boyfriend has like a nonprofit, right? So how did he start that? Like,
yeah, so his family was doing a lot of work with the hospital out in Haiti, and he had left teaching and was kind of looking for his next interest, and he spent a couple months down there and fell in love with the kids and said, I need to do more. And I mean, the guy has a heart of gold. I mean, he doesn't even advertise it, but he has kids who have, you know, Haiti's in a horrible, horrendous situation right now. But the culture is so beautiful. The kids can only stay there until they're 18 legally. So kids aged out. And he's doing this behind the scenes. A kid reached out to him and said, you know, I'm in a bad area. I'm seeing people executed in front of me, or they're recruiting people to be a part of a gang. And he ended up getting them out of the area, set them up with a hotel for a week, and then set them up with an apartment for the next year. I mean,
wow.
you know, that's the kind of person, and those are the kind of people that I want to surround myself with. Someone who has a
100%.
servant's heart, who cares about other people and their well-being. And you know that, like,
Right.
you know someone's heart. Like, you learn more over time, but
yeah,
that's how
incredible.
Yeah.
I love that. So I wanted to ask you, because when I was on the segment, you know, we first talked with the first segment, we talked about how, you know, I don't really use the word SKI and
Yes.
NY,
Yeah.
and how you thought that was so powerful. And so I wanted you to share a little bit about like your healthy lifestyle journey, kind of like what that looks like.
Yeah.
Well,
the reason why I said that is because, you know, like a lot of other women, I struggled with, you know, am I too big? And everyone's going to say, oh, you know, you've always been thin, but it again, back to perspective.
Right.
Some girls had made fun of me in high school. It was straight up Mean Girls. They printed out pictures of me from Facebook or MySpace and circled my stomach, you know, probably hanging over my jeans.
Oh my gosh.
And put it all over my front lawn to see for my parents to see. Yeah, like put zits on my face. It was so, I mean, I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Like vividly. Yeah.
Yes. And so ever since then, I had this idea in my head that, you know, I wasn't thin enough, and I wasn't pretty enough, and I wasn't good enough.
Wow.
And so throughout college, I dealt with a lot of, you know, I'm not going to eat this, or I was crazy. I would only eat like fiber cereal, and then I would have the worst stomach ache. And I'm like, okay, something is not right here. And then it wasn't until I lived in Colorado and I started eating well. I actually started eating paleo, and I'm like, okay, like I can do this. It's healthy food. I'm not restricting myself from anything, but it's nourishing me. And people would start saying, "You look really healthy," instead of "You look really skinny." And that was like a changing moment for me. I felt empowered because I was working out and doing new types of workouts, challenging myself. And so, you know, like everyone says, it's a journey, but it really is a journey of accepting yourself. And even now I'm like, gosh, I haven't worked out in a week and I really need to. Yeah. But it's not that like hateful like attitude towards myself.
Correct. Yeah. You want to just feel better. You know that you feel better when you move your body.
Yeah.
And so,
Because even I would say couple months ago, I don't know what was going on with me, but I had lost a lot of weight. And it wasn't on purpose. For once in my life, people were saying, "Oh my gosh, you're so skinny." And I was insecure about that. And it was this whole role reversal. And really, it was just kind of like a health thing. Something going on within me.
Okay. Is it doing okay now?
Yeah. I'm totally balanced now. Yeah.
Okay,
I have the happy weight now.
Okay, good. Hey, that's okay. No, it's good.
You know, when you're in love and you gain weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. You know, you can want something so bad years ago, get it, and then still be unhappy. But it's all about, hey, what perspective and are you loving yourself?
Yes, 100%. And that's where too, I think a lot of, you know, people listening and everything can say, you know, because you do have that bias as being a smaller body, right? And so, and I've seen it from all different spectrums, because I've trained people who are anorexic, I've trained people who are morbidly obese, you know what I mean? Like, so I've gone all spectrums. And because again, at the end of the day, I think people think when people say like love your body, it's like that it has to be through like a larger body and through the lens of that. No.
Yeah.
Like everybody literally is dealing with this message of wanting to love themselves more. But like, how do I, if I don't look like, you know, if the guys don't look like Brad Pitt and the girls don't look like Angelina Jolie, you know what I mean? So it's like, again, it's finding that love for yourself, but yeah, through movement, good fuel, all of that, which is huge. So I love that you do that. And I hate that happened. Those girls sound awful. You know, I'm sure karma, you know, got them. But it is that whole thing of, I mean, I remember in like middle school, like being called something and also like called another name, from a friend. And that's why I started reevaluating like what my friendships looked like and like why I was settling for that, why I just even let that go on for so long.
Right.
Why didn't I stand up for myself? Right. Cause you just feel like you're a shell,
Well, and also when you have that mental thought and you're telling yourself that, you almost attract people who mirror that thought process that's in your mind.
Well, and my thing is that like I always thought I was great, and then everybody would tell me that I wasn't, and so it was one of those things where like I was like, oh, well, so then maybe I am not,
right?
And so, but it was like I heard it over and over and over again, so it like stole my light. So like the light that I naturally had growing up and like wanting to run around and like, booty shorts and a sports bra, you know what I mean? It like was kind of taken away. Hey everyone, thank you for subscribing and following the Love Your Body podcast. I'm so excited for everything to come with this new chapter of 31 and with going into, 7 years of my business and just feeling so much love from you all. Thank you all so much for your support and everything that I do in my mission. If you're wanting to work with me one-on-one, please DM me on Instagram. All my handles are DanityFitness1, or you can email me at danny@danityfitness.com. If you're looking for online programming customized to your lifestyle, I do that as well as food accountability coaching. So if you're interested in having somebody to have that accountability with your food journey, would love to help you with that too. Along with you guys, we have challenges every so often. So about every quarter, the next challenge we'll have is the Fight for What You Want challenge. So if you're interested in that, please reach out. Don't hesitate. And until next time.
Hi, I'm Laura Schweizer. I'm the host of Local on 2. You can find me weekdays, Monday through Friday on WKRN Channel 2 at 2 p.m. It's a live show. You won't want to miss it. And you can find me on Instagram at the Laura Schweizer, EIZER. Again on Instagram.
These are like the best couches because my client, I was literally training her and I had given my mom my card when I was like renovating because we renovated this whole thing. So this was like this is 1971 house, right? So basically when I came up in here, this whole back part was an addition that somebody had put on.
Okay.
And so the lady like lived back here, but she didn't really. There was a pool table right here where we're sitting. There were dartboards and then there was blue and yellow walls, carpet, trash, like so bad. Anyway, and the kitchen was like not like that. So like we installed the barn door, we redid the whole bathroom. The bathroom was just a laundry room. Like it was just like, yeah. And then anyway, and then redid all this. But basically I was so over the whole purchases because I did not realize how expensive it was going to be that because I had like a budget and like they were like, nah, because like we had to get the floors redone, all things. So anyway, so with the couches, I showed it to my client Ashley, who's now a dear friend of mine, and I said, hey, which one do you like? And she was like, I think that one's good. She's like, that one looks cute, whatever. I was like, cool. Told my mom to get it.
Thank her for me.
Oh, yeah. I tell everybody like that. And they're like, thank Ashley. Like, I'm like, yeah. Because I am not like very interior. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't know where to start is my issue. Like, I know when I like the look of something, but I'm like, how do you like start with something? People are like, oh, the palettes. I'm like,
right. Yeah, 100%. And I'm learning, as we go and whatever. And so like we just got these paintings. And so literally yesterday, so I wanted them to be here for when you got here and stuff and for my birthday and everything. But like, it's just like brings like moments of peace. You know what I'm saying? And places I've gone that I've loved or that I want to go to. And so it was one of those things where I gave her the vision and then she like did it and I'm so pleased with it. But like I could never, I wouldn't imagine it looking like this, but I was just like, here's a bunch of pictures of me at places. Let's rock with it,
It's crazy. I always say it takes so long for a house to feel like a home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when you finally have artwork hanging, you're like, okay, this feels good.
Yeah, because I told him, I was like, I've been sitting here in like kind of like a dungeon like for a while, and now I actually will have like the blinds open from time to time, or I'll like sit out by the fire and do like a bonfire and stuff, and like so it's been really cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, all that to say, when you're going back to the hurtful comments, right? And the things like, it's easy to like, especially like me being like in a house and stuff like here, like I was like self-isolating, right? And because again, my clients come to me, podcast comes to me, Airbnb on the other side. So it's like, I could just sit here, nobody would really know if I'm going out, if I'm doing things. Cause I just, I gave up drinking. Like I don't do a lot of those things. Yeah. And so what advice would you, give to someone that's listening who is, because I try to tell them all the time, but I want them to hear from your perspective of like to get out there? Like, what would you say in Nashville from like what you've seen? Because there's a lot of people that are not, I think you've learned this, that aren't from here, that live here now.
Yeah.
So it's not the majority like me and like us who grew up here, you know?
Yeah. I always say, join a group. Join a group. I know a lot of my friends, they've made great friends through doing that, kickball groups.
Okay. Yeah. Like intramural stuff.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, volunteering. I love that. You can meet some incredible people who you're volunteering alongside with.
Yeah.
And I would say,
So all the dating apps, all the.
no,
Just
to be
mess
honest,
with
I
you.
haven't done dating apps since 2018.
Okay, so I haven't done them since 2021,
Yeah.
and I don't plan to go back. I
Yeah.
don't like it was just awful. It was so bad.
My first date was I went out with a guy and he ended up making out with another girl. I was like, okay,
man.
I'm done.
Oh, I hate that so much. Which guy? Oh, so yeah, so there was this guy. I was out with like she also came on here. She's like one of my mentors. Okay. Anyway, amazing woman, super cool. But so we go out, she's like, I want to go on Broadway, honky tonk. Yeah, she didn't know what this was like, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh gosh, no one's gonna be local. And she's like, well, I'll set you up with a man. And I'm like, you won't though, but like, okay, because like, who's out there. So she goes up to this young, like bachelor party and starts talking them up. And I mean, they're like good looking dudes, whatever. And the guy, man, why you gotta bring up this trauma, Logan? No, I'm just kidding. It was like, he was talking to me, having a great conversation, whatever. And he's like, yeah, you're talking about strongman, powerlifting, whatever. And then he goes, I was like, well, here, like me being assertive, I was like, well, here, put my number in your phone. Like, we can talk about it more or whatever. And he goes like this, like, and he'd been drinking. And he goes, he puts his lock screen on, like taps it, and it's like lights up him and this girl. And I was like, or not.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't have an Instagram. And I was like, because I was like, or I said something like, follow me on Instagram. And he's like, I don't have an Instagram. And I was like, yeah. So cool. And I just, you know what I mean? But again, it's okay. Like, it's not a big deal. And it was just one of those where I'm like, I have focused on what I can control.
Yeah.
And I can control going and showing up to places. I can control putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't control how someone is going to be or if they're going to do bad stuff or whatever.
Right.
All I can do is show up myself.
Yes, authentic self.
Yeah, exactly. And then just like have real conversations.
Yeah.
And then if it goes somewhere, cool. And if it doesn't, that doesn't.
Back to, how to put yourself out there. I was thinking, if you can marry your passions with, putting yourself out there. So if it is your business, like there's a really awesome women's group.
Yeah.
And they're so supportive of each other.
Right.
But it's about building each other's businesses up, not competing at
Right.
all, but just, it's called Heels and Handshakes. Lovely
Yeah, I've seen some
women.
of their stuff. Yeah.
So sweet. And or like, you have a passion for comedy. Do like an improv group.
Oh,
so
wow.
many of those.
I feel like I'd be so good at that.
You would, yes, and they're fun. I have a couple.
They would be like, look at this girl on stage. But no, it would be so good. I actually love going to comedy stuff. I love going to Zanies. I went to see Matt Rife when I was in Vegas, and he was freaking hilarious. But just like stuff like that really brings me joy and everything. And I went to that by myself, by the way. So like, again, it's like, it's not like something I get that all the time. People are like, well, I guess I'll just go myself. I'm like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like, go to that. Like, I love going to the movies by myself. Like, and I always will like see somebody that I know probably, or like meet somebody or whatever. And so it's one of those things if I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the hardest part is feeling uncomfortable.
Right. But that's with anything. That's with the healthy lifestyle journey. That's when you start, I'm sure with you, when you first started, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And your journey with everything, like, and going on air and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it can be
Yes.
uncomfortable. And
Awkward.
Like, yeah. And that's where it's like, if you can just get past that first hump,
Mm-hmm.
like, and the biggest thing I will say for advice for people listening, that like what I do is if I say it out loud or if I put it on my Instagram, like, oh, like I'm going to the movies tonight, then like I won't like back out and I'll go.
Ooh.
Or if I'm like, for example, I went line dancing. Have you been to the Nashville Palace?
I have not been.
Okay.
I only saw the Ranch Hands Cowboy Last there.
Oh, wow. How was that?
Lovely.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
Gotcha. I've heard good things. So, but no, it was like they do line dancing classes. So you literally you can show up, and then I think it's like $7, and you like watch the guy will like show you a song, and then we all do it.
Yeah.
Like you learn the choreography and then you do it. And I'm like, awesome. And then you take a break and then they come back and like, and they even have time for advanced people to go out there and whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, because everyone always assumes because I dance that I can line dance. When did I ever take line dancing classes, you guys?
Yeah.
Like that wasn't my competition. I wasn't competing for titles doing line dancing. So I didn't know how to do it. Yeah. So every time we go, people try to watch me and I'm like, don't watch me. And so anyway, and I never partner dance. So I got to do that when I was there and my client invited me out. Yeah. And that was a good, sober, fun activity that I could do.
And you married your passion with it. You love dancing, right?
Yeah.
But I think the second part of it, I think, putting yourself out there is one thing. I think the second part, which is also uncomfortable, is talking to someone. I listened to this other podcast a couple weeks ago. I think it was Mel Robbins.
Okay, cool.
And she talked about how, what if you took a chance and just said hello to the person sitting next to you?
Right.
You never know what kind of relationship that person can hold. Even if it's just like a conversation at Trader Joe's, it could be so meaningful and enriching, and you could hold on to one thing they said. Yeah. They could have like a life-changing statement. Or it could be a friend that, lasts forever. Example would be, this girl, when I was in Hawaii, she started the same day as me. Okay. And she said, do you want to go out on Friday? Yeah. And I said, and I wanted to say no because I wanted to just shell up, be by myself. Yep. I was comfortable there in my apartment, and I pushed myself. I said, okay, yeah, let's go out. We're still friends to this day.
I love that.
We still text very frequently. Yeah.
So that's so funny you say that. So China, who's also been on here, is now one of my best friends. And like we were at a bodybuilding fitness workshop, and I went to it. I kind of was like sponsoring it, but like I was brand new into fitness stuff, and I knew that I'd probably be like one of the larger bodies there. So I didn't know like how it was going to go, and because I was like just starting my prep and everything like that. And basically, long story short, it was like me and her and like two other girls. And we like, I just kind of looked at them because one of the girls was impressed by like my strongman stuff. The other one had listened to my podcast. So, and then the other one didn't know anything about me. So she's over here. The other two kind of know of me, and it just so happens that like me and her end up being the ones, like I just went to her wedding in Vegas, like, you know what I mean? And she's going to come visit me here. I'm going to go see her for Halloween. Like, and it's so crazy because she didn't know anything about me. She didn't know my business. She didn't know my stuff. She just knew me as the girl at the workshop. And then and then what I did was I said, hey, do y'all want to do like, I put myself out there. I said, do y'all want to do like a group chat? Like, and just the four of us. And we started this group chat. So we were everyone's support for the show. And then we competed against each other, me, her, and the other girl. And which is so funny. We talk about that all the time. But, we went on stage against each other and we ended up becoming such close friends, all because we had each other's back. But it was like the first time in a long time that someone had looked at me not as my business and like myself. And so I wanted to ask you, do you get that a lot?
I'm so glad that you are bringing this up because I would say for my whole professional life that I've been working to be in this place. I never really understood when they would when On Air Talent would say, "Oh, I feel used," and I wouldn't necessarily. I can't peg a certain experience, or I don't really want to talk about it. But sometimes you wonder if people want to be your actual friend.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, so I totally get that. And we have had many conversations about this. And even with the last guy that like I dated, like him being kind of like a, what do they call it, clout chaser or whatever. It was that whole thing because he wanted to say that he was like with Danny D. And like, and it was like a competition, like, oh, well, I'm on this banner here on this website. It's like, cool. Like, that's great. Like, but for the wrong intention. Like, it was like, he wasn't trying to get to know like Danielle. Yeah. He was trying to get to know the business person that he saw.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the reasons why I waited to kind of date people is because I didn't know what their interest was.
Right. Yeah. Well, because you have to tell me. So like when you when you went from like when you got here in Nashville, like you went straight to local on two, right? Like or no?
Well, it was Good Morning Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you have like a strong presence the moment? Because I don't know how it works.
No,
Like was it like no?
didn't.
Okay,
No.
so that
No.
grew.
Yes.
Okay, so as you're on the come up, essentially,
Yes.
then people are kind of seeing you. They're kind of knowing who you are. Okay, okay,
And it was, again, a humbling experience, but also just like a chance for me to recognize who am I? What kind of person do I want to be?
Right.
What kind of character do I want to establish here in Music City, in this new town, in this community?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted to focus on my job, and I wanted to focus on me and who I was going to become.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I was just saying, like, as you're on the come up of stuff, because
Yeah.
like that's how I felt with coming up with Dandy Fitness, because it was like all of a sudden, you know, people are starting to wear my shirts out, and then they're
Yeah.
starting to recognize like who I know.
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, I remember you from this or that or whatever. And you know, so you're wondering like, are they talking to you for that person? And a lot of times, even like this guy, he started messaging me recently, and we had met at like the expo. Super sweet, super cool, seems whatever. Shared his story. I told him about my story, and there was like nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so it's hard for me to to discern. Are you talking to me like you want to maybe go on a date, or are you just
Yes.
trying to get to? Because then they look at you as inspirational, and they're like, well, tell me how you do all these things that they want to learn from you,
Right.
and then you become more like their teacher.
And you feel like sucked. Like
You know?
your energy is sucked. Like I'm not
Yes.
getting anything back from you.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you are kind of like me, where we're just loving people.
Yeah.
We love loving on people, and we love to be happy and smiling, and we
Yeah.
want to be friends with everyone.
Right.
And then when we feel like someone isn't our friend or
Yeah.
doesn't have the best intentions, I am a crier, and
Yeah.
I will just like become so emotional, because I think,
Yeah.
you know, why people don't want to be my friend. People don't actually care about me. People don't see
Right.
my heart.
Right.
But I guess that's just the way the world works. And I
Right.
would rather be burned on the other end than be jaded.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that shows just like who you are as a person and how open you are to life, you know? And I think that's great. I think that probably was a learned experience from like
Yeah.
everything you're saying, right?
Yeah, still.
Yeah. And what sign are you? When's your
Cancer.
birthday?
Wait, when was your birthday?
My
You said it-
birthday's Sunday. Well, when this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks prior.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
So,
June 27th is my birthday.
So July 7th. So we're both Kansas. Yeah, this
That
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Because as you're talking, I'm like, I'm feeling like it's like that vibe. And so, okay, that's hilarious. So no, that's exactly right though. So we are like emotional,
Yes.
but it can be used as fuel and like used in such a positive way. But yeah, it's like when you hurt, you deeply hurt, and you're just like, why does nobody ever give back? And we talked about this like last year when we were doing the podcast, how I felt. Just like with the first episode, I was just incredibly overwhelmed. I was incredibly stressed out, doing some health stuff and whatever. And literally, they all surprised me and did this like freaking, I don't even know, 30-minute montage video of clients, friends, past clients, high school friends, middle school, all these people, right? Who I hadn't even talked to in a while. And had this, we watched it all in here for my birthday, of them saying kind things about like me and just like not just my business, but like everything, how that proud they were of me. And then we had one that was specific to clients and family. My dad's like crying on screen. I'm crying, like, you know what I mean though? And it was so beautiful that like one person thought to do that for me, and it spearheaded this whole thing, right? And I had never had something like that happen. And I was like so taken back by it, that I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? The time, the effort, she got everybody together, and they all kept it a secret from me too. You know what I mean? It was so special. And I don't know about you, but like for my whole life, I was like, man, I just want people to see me.
Yes.
Just to
Yeah.
see me. Like,
Yeah.
and now it's like, okay, cool. They see the business, and that's great. They see the inspiration. They see the fight, the drive, all the things, right? Which I am all those things, but also like me at my core, like knowing that person.
Yeah.
And trying to get to know that person. Like I've said multiple times since I've had this house, I'm like, if you want to come and like sit around the fire, We can just sit. I don't want anything. I'm not trying to be romantic with somebody. Like, I'm not trying to whatever. Like, bring your wife, bring your kids, whoever. Like, if y'all want to come just chill, like, let's do that.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so I try to be open to that now more, even so. And actually got to go sit with a friend like a few weeks back, like, and just like talk with him for a bit.
Yeah.
And that was so special because I don't get to do that a lot. And, you know,
Yes. Well,
and have meaningful conversation.
That's what I was about to say is, you know, in dealing with that the burn and the sting of someone, maybe they don't have the best intentions and maybe they don't really care about me or like my, you know, my goals and future. They, you know, do they want to be my friend?
Yeah.
I've learned that I need to hold and cherish the people who do know me, who don't care about my job, who've known me since high school, who just want to sit on the couch and do nothing and you know, giggle about silly stuff. Hold them so close and value them and make sure that they know that I love them. And I couldn't be myself without them.
I love that. Yeah, because it does. It takes a community. It takes that having that support. Like I wouldn't be anywhere without the friend I was talking about, China and Jordan and my other best friend Alexis. Like, and it's one of those things too where it's like they've always seen me at they see me at my worst, my best. And that's like that love that I feel like I get from God as well. You know what I'm saying? That like that no shame. Come as you are, be who you are. But let's try to work towards being our best self. But like it's hard when every little thing is so, you know, it's almost like I'll use this reference. So I had a group of friends and they were just not the best for me. And they continually would point out, like, I'll never forget this. Like I did something where I had been drinking or whatever, and I was going through loss. So I'm, you know, in excess, doing the deal, whatever, not my healthiest. And not like excess of days, like in the one night is what I'm talking about.
Right.
And basically ended up like crying and like saying some things, whatever. And that person was like, but what if they like, basically it was like, well, I don't know how they phrased it, but it was like, not like what would Danny D do, but like, look what you could have jeopardized for that or something like that. You know what I mean? Like if they would judge you on that and like, and it's whatever. And it wasn't even coming from a good, like kind part of being like, hey, like maybe you should be like, whatever. It was like a judgment of like, you know, not about your well-being, but like Danny D Fitness's well-being. Right. And I was like, I don't think anybody, like those people are not my clients. They not care. This is not a professional function. Right. This was, I thought, a safe space. Yeah. And it was so hurtful that it was like, but then they could go run around doing whatever they want, inappropriate, all these things. Yeah. And for me, I'm very much, I don't know about you, but with the cancer signs, like I'm about things being fair. And I hate when they're not, and nothing is ever fair, right? When you really look at it. But I hate that when like a man can do something and it's totally whatever. It's oh, he's just whatever. But then a woman does it and it looks like X, Y, Z. And I was just like, no, do not put that on me. Like, you know?
Well, and it's so crazy because going back to the friends saying that, if only they took the second to say, hey, let's peel back the layers. What's really going on here? Because I have friends, you know, I've seen them and, you know, maybe they drank in excess. Yeah. And I thought, something deeper is going on here.
Do you want to
talk?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk? Because I'm here to listen.
Which would have been awesome. And that was all I wanted, was like someone to just talk to and like have that space. But it felt like I was that space for everyone else. So like I didn't have that space. Yeah. And it was very challenging. And at the time I was living in like 365 square feet at the apartment at Connect. And it was like influencer for them. So then there's that, right? So you got to be on a certain way there. And you got to be on a certain way in front of your clients. You got to be a certain way. So there's so much pressure. And like, it just felt like, wow. So like everyone else gets to live, but then I have to be on this, like whatever, for what? Because they were so like nervous that people would judge me or whatever. It's like, people are going to judge me regardless.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's so true.
And that's why I talk to people about their body and stuff too. I'm like, you know, no matter if you're, you know, smaller, you're larger, or whatever, you could be too small. Yeah. Well, now you're to this or you're that. It's never going to be good for everyone, and it doesn't have to be. And that is where I wish so many people would pull that back of like, and get away from that, that it's like that people pleasing and like trying to like be everything for everybody else. When really, if we just came with like love, you know what I mean? Like you could be yourself.
I feel like too, with social media and the ability to comment on something now
Yeah.
in this day, everyone feels as if their opinion and comment is so valid and worthy. And really, what about back in the day when you couldn't and you didn't say it? We all were great. We were doing great then.
So good. And that's why, like, it is so funny to me, like, because so when the video went viral, right, that's the flipping the 500-pound tire. Basically, I remember someone asked me, they're like, so, like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm great. Like, this is awesome, right? Like, ESPN sharing it, E News is sharing it. Like, this is so cool, right? And for a feat of strength and, like, whatever. And they're like, well, look at all those, like, thousands of comments about your booty. And, like, it was, like, negatively talking about my backside, right? Which it's always a topic of conversation. But anyway, it was so funny. I was like, literally, like, I don't care. Like, I've had those things said to my face. Like, someone on the internet saying it, like, that has no, and I'm like, and also look at the bigger impact that this showed for, like, young girls and this showed for women to be like, you can be strong, you can be sexy. If you want to lift a tire in booty shorts and rock it out, like, go for it. You know what I mean?
And don't you feel like the bigger the name, the more haters that you have?
You will, exactly. And that's the other thing too, that, like, I know, for example, like, I have big aspirations. And me and Danielle talked about that. Like, I would love to be on Good Morning America. Like, I would love to do those things. I love to do Smooth Fit, right?
Yes.
Like, come through and, like, and be on a stage. Like, if somebody right now was like, hey, we have a stage, we got Neyland Stadium, or we got Nissan Stadium, or wherever filled, and we want you to be there. And they I went to UT. Come on, but anyway, but, like, if somebody was like, okay, yeah, and they were like, Danny, like, we need you on there. You're gonna hype up the group. You're gonna hype up hundreds of thousands of people. I'm like, put me in, coach. Like, no questions asked. I'll move some things around. I'll be there, right?
Yes.
So, like, it's like, I'm ready for that. And again, but think about how many thousands of those people will probably be like, oh, like, who's this girl, whatever. Probably think I'm crazy. Don't care. Like, because I know that, like, my purpose is to do that. It's to spread that joy. I know that, like, Move Fit is that different, thing. Or even if it's a speaking engagement, they're like, hey, you need to do a motivational talk.
Yeah.
Again, let's go. So, like, that is where not living in fear of others' opinion or whatever. And, like, even the other night, Nightlight 615, have you been to one of those, the movie in the park?
No,
Bicentennial?
Yeah. No, I haven't been. It's right by my house.
Oh, girl, you should so
I
go.
know.
It's one of my favorite activities because you could go by yourself or you could go with friends or you go with your boyfriend or whatever. But they have food trucks and it's like a whole thing, right?
yeah.
So I went to see Halloween last year, which I love scary movies, and we did with a group outing. So it was like some of my clients, and then we just went to see Miss Congeniality, and that was another Dandy Fitness outing. So challengers of mine, clients, their friends came, whatever. And I'm like, I think I told you sponsoring that pageant system. So I'm Miss Love Your Body. So I wore my sash, I wore my crown. Perfect, right? And then the pageant director, she wore hers and stuff. And so we took photos and did the whole deal. But I'm literally running around there. There's like, I think a max of 500 people. And I'm running around there and people knew me, like, too. And I didn't give a whatever. Like, I was just like, crown, sash, let's rock and roll, posing, doing the pictures, all the things. Because yes, that might seem silly, but, like, also it's on brand with the movie. And I am a queen right now. Like, so it's like, and I'm only going to be that, I'm going to crown somebody in October. So it's like, let's make the most of it. Have some fun. You only live once.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like, and even with Halloween, like, we wore some, like, our shirts and stuff, like, it was so fun. And, like, it's just one of those things where I get it. It's that fear of judgment, but, like, and even with the bigger the name or whatever, because people will be like, oh, I saw you out and you were doing this or, or whatever. Right. Or there's always some kind of slide of like, oh, well, I saw that you had pizza on your vacation and, like, whatever. It's like, like, it's okay. You know what I mean? But again, at the end of the day, like, as long as you're good with the decisions you make, nobody can tear you down.
I think too, when you become, like, when you formulate more into your authentic self and you show that and display that to the world, you're automatically going to have haters. I also think that jealousy is a very real thing, and that can come through in the comments, online, in person. And that's something that, like, I say this full-heartedly, very humbly, that, I understand that there are jealous people out there. Right. But, like, I have to realize that, like, it's not me. It's not me. And also that, like, both you and I, we are deserving. We've worked hard. We're good people, and we're spreading positivity. Right. If you only knew my heart.
Yes, but that's what it's that split judgment, that snap judgment, and that was another thing I'll bring up about, like, just in general, like, that's where like what I do is if I have a snap judgment about somebody, I imagine a stop sign. And I stop it right there. I don't take it down for like, because you know how you can do that. You'd be like, well, how could they do this? Or how could they be like that? Da, 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 da. And then you get this whole thing about somebody that you don't even know.
Right.
You have no clue what's going on in their life.
Right. Or if like maybe some people want to have the amount of followers that you have, and so they attack you for that. And it's like, I think that there's a place for everyone as long as you're authentic and as long as like, hopefully, good intentions.
Well, and it's so wild because, okay, I'll tell you this. So I've set the intention about like stepping out of my comfort zone for a while, right? And also, I just want to say I was at like 10,000 followers for literally forever until my video went viral, and then it like went up, right? So like that was like I had been working towards that, like, and I was kind of stuck and I put a lot of money into marketing and advertising, all these things. And then it just happened with the simplest thing of like, I wanted to put that video up because it was a really dark day of mine, which no one ever asked about that. No one asked why I put the video up, right? A year later. It was because I was so depressed and so sad after the loss and going through injury, and I wasn't moving as efficiently anymore. Things were a struggle. Things were hard. And literally, like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my hair done that day, get a spray tan. I'm going to pick myself up. I'm sitting there getting my hair done. I put the video. I didn't even know how to use TikTok. I had like 4 followers and they were my clients. So literally they had shown me how to do the video. And so I did it or whatever. I was like, oh, whatever. Put it up there. Didn't even look at it. Later in the night, I start commenting back. And I'm like, oh, like, thanks. Like, thanks. And then I scroll and I was like, oh, thousands. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm getting emails and I'm like, I don't know. It's happening. And
you know why I got out?
Why I got out the way I did.
Who shared it?
I don't know who shared it. And I hope that someone's watching this that is like secretly would tell me, but Just Women's Sports, I feel like was the first one to put it up. And I don't know like who on there. No. And it was just crazy. And I mean, I'm so thankful that they did. I talk a lot about that, about how podcasts helped me, especially when I was like feeling really lonely and I meal prep or when I'm like, whatever, I can do my stairs in the morning. And it's like, I want it to feel like they're here with us, and that way it can be that friendly, like,
banter.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. So, but what I was gonna say is about that. When I saw the comments stuff, like, I don't know who originally shared it, but thankfully they did. But it was it was just so special that it was one of those things where like nothing was going to bring me down with that, because it was something I loved doing and whatever. But when I reposted that video, like I said, I was in a dark place and stuff like that. And that was what God knew was going to be like, wow, this is something that like, you know what I mean? Like you can share and then like having that, and also to bring that up, I just, like as I went through grief and stuff, I don't know if you've ever been through loss, but it kind of changes your outlook on things. Right. And for me, I ended up being kind of more closed off. Like I used to always like, I mean, I do it better now, right? I'm better with it, but like I used to always talk to my camera, like no matter what, like I didn't care, whatever. And I was like, I just put it out there. And I didn't even like re-look at it or question it. I just did it. And I know everybody that's listening is like, yeah, you do that now. But there was a part of time where it was hard for me to do that. It's hard to see myself because I like lost my smile and I lost things.
Yes.
And as I rebuilt myself, I was like, I'm going to be intentional about stepping out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And so I did this like Miss Health and Fitness thing. And I forgot to even mention that on the previous podcast, but thank you to everybody who voted and who did that. But that went on for months. And I was like, you know what, this is kind of silly, but like it says it's going to a good charity. I raised money for charity, thousands of dollars. I got so many votes coming in. I couldn't see all of them at one time, but you would see throughout the day. Yeah. And people were commenting like LYB for life. They're like, this mission is so important. Like, I'm here for it. Like, you are so deserving, all these things. And then that rallied against, and I know there's so many people that saw it that were like rolling their eyes or like, oh, another, crazy thing. But like, I believe in myself. So I believe that I can have my own sponsored home gym. I believe that I can have a house that I manifested that is a duplex that I can make money off of. I believed in all these things way before, years before I said, I'm never going to pay to live in Nashville. Like, I'm not going to pay to live in Nashville. And I got the influencership. How did that happen? Go watch the Jenna podcast that was on here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she talks about how that happened. Right. And literally it was so crazy, but it's like so many people support the mission and then therefore support me. Yeah. And I felt so much love from that health and fitness thing. So like, it was uncomfortable. It's kind of like, I'm going to post about it and like, whatever, but I went full fledged in it. On the newsletters, on the Instagram, on Facebook, everything. And like my family, extended family was voting every day. You know, and I was like, it's a free daily vote, guys. And like they were doing that. And then people were donating that I haven't even seen in years. So it's like, that was such a special moment, but it wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have gotten uncomfortable. And I was like, I'm going to step out my comfort zone and be accountable to this.
Yeah.
And let's do it, you know? So anyway, so it's like, again, though, even if you're listening and you're going through this where you are afraid, I have so many people that are so afraid to put up a story or put up a post or like, you know, I'm even doing a challenge right now, the Love Your Body Challenge. So right now internally in our group, they're writing what they love about their body. Yeah. And they're also putting their 31 minutes of movement a day, and which is so cool. But I only am having them have to post once a week. So just to be accountable, right? Say I'm doing this challenge, feeling good. So they only have to post every day. So it's a really like easy type of challenge to come into. But like you're seeing that they're being like, I'm so capable. I'm so strong. And they're asking the hard questions. Like, how did you become this? Like, how do you feel strong? Like what helps you feel strong, you know? And they're starting the question. And this is something I did want to ask you. So, cause I didn't get to ask it on air and I was like, dadgummit, because we only had so long to do, you know, whatever. But I do my Love Your Body initiative where I go around asking people what they love about their body. And I've done this, you know, all over and stuff. And it's one of those things where, you know, I really wanted to ask you that day. I didn't get to. So is there something that you love about your body? And if so, what is it?
I mean, I would say my heart, because it's authentic, it's real, it's true, and it really is like full of love. Like I really do care about people. I care about everyone's story. And the cancers, I feel everything with you, truly.
Right. Yeah. I love that. And has anyone asked you this before?
No, never.
I love that.
Never.
I love that. Give me the first.
Never. At first I was like, is it like a part of your body? Is it like the physical?
See, and that's the thing is like, it can be whatever you interpret it to be. Because here's the thing is the way that I ask it is because I want the person to decide that, because that shows me where they are on their journey. Because if someone can't find anything they love about their body, right? And I say it has to be a physical part, they're going to immediately be like, well, I have nothing, right? But if I say it in this way, then it makes them think about it. So maybe they start out with like, okay, like a lot of moms, they'll say, well, I'm glad I could carry my child, right? Okay, that is great. And everything like that. But then they message me like weeks later or whatever. And they say, you know, I've been thinking about that question more. And that is what it's there for. It's to plant that seed. So then she can, she can be like, okay, well, yes, I'm a great mom, but like, you know what? Like, I'm really like loving how my legs are shaping out, or like, man, I'm like really loving my arms. Like, so it's that triple effect that I'm working towards. You see what I mean? And which is super cool that, you know, again, to hear everyone's different perspective, because it's always something different.
What about you? What's yours?
Well, I love it. Right? Someone's asked me.
It's a TV host.
It's a TV host. I love it. I love it. So I'm actually doing my affirmations each day for the challenge. So I'll say the one thing that I love about my body today is my legs. I'm having a really good day where I can feel my complete side of my left leg. Because when I got injured, it got the numbness. And so it happens. And I don't know how long it'll be, for maybe my whole life or whatever. But today I can feel my leg, and I did legs yesterday. So that's a good sign. That means I didn't go too heavy. That means I was like good with it. So it's just super positive, you know? And so it's the little things, right? You know? But I will say that in general, I am so proud of my body, for everything that it's doing for me and showing up for me, because no matter what my blood work says, no matter what, you know, whatever, the fact that I have energy, I'm sitting right here being able to do 2 podcasts in a row, and being able to, after my cardio, my workout, training clients, and feel at ease and feel at peace with it. And no caffeine, by the way. Yeah, there's no caffeine. Yeah. No, it's okay.
Impressive.
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you a story. So, you know, my Fight Energy Booster, like I love it and I support it. And obviously it is fantastic. Been drinking it every day for a while now. And anyway, I went and got some blood work done, and they just were like, hey, you need to chill out on your supplements for a minute. And I do like other supplements, you know, help me sleep and whatever. Anyway, so that meant all my supplements. So that meant my Fight as well, which kills me because I love drinking it. But in my mind, I had hyped it up so much that like I needed X amount of it to get through my day.
Yeah.
And that's where there was whatever. But it wasn't that caused my stuff. That's not it. We don't even know what that is yet. But it's one of those things where they were like, just like strip it away completely. That plus like all my other supplements. And I was like, okay, I can do that for a month and then like slowly integrate it back in and whatever, which I will, because I love at least one a day. But it's one of those things where I thought that like, okay, there's no way I could get through a workout. And every time I've done a workout since I've gone with no caffeine, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel invincible and I feel so strong.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that everyone has to go with no caffeine, whatever.
But
We all
it's
have
that
different lives.
self-control almost that you're practicing.
Right, exactly. And I do that with every aspect of my life, with everything that I've done. And so it really felt like, okay, here was maybe this like kind of crutch that I was maybe like leaning on.
Yeah.
And now it's like strip that away. And at first it's kind of like taking away someone's like candy, right? You're like, Dad, like you're angry about it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let's just see. Like, let's just figure out. And the first day when I got up, that was rough. And then I did my cardio, did my workout, got through my day. And I was like, wow, actually I feel pretty good, pretty clear. Okay, cool. This is going to last. And the second day I was like, I feel completely fine. Like, it's crazy. And so I'm like, all right. So I don't know. It's just, it's again, that other layer of how much stronger you get in this lifestyle journey if you keep going, if you stay consistent, and if you fight for what you want.
Yes.
And I really do believe that. I believe that you can do anything you want to do. And someone can say, oh, well, you got this break, you got this or whatever. It's like, again, putting yourself in the room, showing up, go into the things.
Right.
I didn't want to go to an influencer night. And I went and I had brought my friend or whatever, ended up talking to this girl. She was super cool. She introduced me to Ricky Sanchez, so host of 107.5 The River. And she just came on my podcast, told her story and is a client and is an awesome client. And like, so it's just like, again, if I wouldn't have gone to that, I wouldn't have met them. Then, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just like, was it uncomfortable at first? It was like, yeah, and it was raining. I had every reason, y'all, to not go. Every reason.
Right.
And again, didn't seek her out because I didn't know what she looked like. I wasn't like, oh, let me get that client. You know what I mean? Like, but didn't even go for that.
Yeah.
Like I was just going to show up and see this like whatever event that I was invited to. So I think that it was like, again, showing up authentically, but just like putting yourself out there. And again, too, when I tell people about MoveFit, I'm like, y'all can come. And even if you come and just watch.
Yes.
Just come and chill. Like I always have like another thing. Like I had people getting stretched afterwards, you know, whatever. Like go get a stretch. Like, you know what I mean? You can pay $20 for the ticket and get a free stretch, which would have cost you, X amount. Like, you know what I mean? And win some prizes and all the things and the goodies and whatever. So it's like, showing up is literally 90%.
Yes.
So anyway, but I love that you asked that. Thank you for doing that. I want to ask you too, before we finish up, what has been like your best accomplishment you feel like in terms of like so far in your career? Like the thing that you were just like so proud of and why?
Ooh.
I know so many things.
Okay. This is awesome. I have two things. Okay. One was creating the like branch off of Two Gives Back, and it's this Laura on Local on Two Gives Back, and that's where I started giving back and donating time and highlighting these charities. But I will say in 2020, talk about manifesting. I created a vision board, and I still have one. I'm not going to talk about what's on there.
Oh, okay.
But I created a vision board in 2020, and I was in Hawaii at the time. And I was just doing a trending segment on the evening news, and I pulled out like a red carpet, and I said, I want to be on the red carpet. I want to be hosting something on the red carpet. Yeah. And it was maybe a year and a half later, they said, hey, Laura, we want you down hosting on the red carpet for CMA Awards. And it was a moment of, and being on the red carpet and having that second of, this is everything that I wanted. This was my vision. Yeah. Come to life. Yeah. I can't believe I'm here.
That's so huge. I love that so much. That's awesome. And you said, when was that? That was in...
I put the vision down in January 11th, 2020. And then I hosted the CMA Awards in the 2022 CMA Awards and did it again last year. And we'll do it again this year. That's
epic, girl. I love that so much. And that is such a key thing to you guys that are listening. It's like, you got to understand that like, is not on our timeline.
Yes.
Like you gotta, when you do this manifestation, like I literally said to my clients for, I want to say like at least 3 years, like I'm not going to pay to live in Nashville. Like I'm not going to do it. I'm not, whatever. And literally they're like, well, what are you going to do? Like you're going to live with your parents forever. And I was like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out, but I'm not going to do it. And so I knew something was coming, right? I knew if I just, put myself out there, worked hard, like something would happen. I never believed the luxury of what happened would happen. But, or like when it happened, I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually real. Like, how did this happen? And I really started to believe in manifestation at that point because I was like, man, like this is just something that I just put out there every day and was saying, put into fruition.
I also look back on, the hero's journey. So like Disney movies, all these stories where right as they're about to get to the end, Hercules, like they suffer this major defeat.
Yes.
Right? And you're like, I can't make it. I'm not like, I can't do it. And I feel like that's your final test. Like right before, I didn't think I was going to get the Local on 2 host job. I really didn't. Okay. And it was months and months and months and months. And to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be a bartender on Broadway.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean,
but I held out and I really leaned into my faith at that time.
Right.
And held out.
Yeah.
And believed and just knew within me that something was going to turn around. And it did.
I love that. It's crucial. I think it's crucial in every aspect, you guys. It's not just about, your work. It's not just about, with finances. It's not whatever. It's with all of it. Relationships. It's everything. And really, because it's like that negative mindset can just pull you in to just so much. And I get it. Everything's heavy. It's like, and again, the jealousy thing is so real. And I really feel that from men. Like, because it's like, I will like, whenever I've talked to guys and like, it's always been so frustrating because I'll talk about like, someone I'm proud of. Like I'm proud of when I was Nashville's Strongest Woman, right? I'm proud of the billboard, and the beautiful sign. Like I'm proud of all the things. And so like when I want to share that, it's almost looked at like immediately ghosted. Like if I'm like, oh, I have a house. If they're like, oh, I have my own business. Like, and that's just not a secure person. And I know that now, but for a while I was like, well, what's wrong with me? Like maybe I should like say it in a different way, or I was like, no, because I don't do that in any other aspect of my life. So why am I going to do that in dating?
You're here. I'm with my hands. Yeah. You're here and you want to meet someone exactly at your same level.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing is I do believe that. And I know that he's out there. And there's things now that I know that I'm not going to settle for.
Right.
But that was like, I was like, oh, but he's nice, so I'll do this. But that's, again, I wouldn't do that with like, I wouldn't do that with a client. Like if a client was like, hey, I can't pay you and whatever, I wouldn't be like, oh, but like they're cool.
Holding on to the hope.
Yes, I'll be like,
my friends would say the same exact thing to me. Like, would you really accept this in a job?
Right. And like you wouldn't. So it's like, and if a client kept ghosting me all the time, I'd be like, all right. Like, we're not doing this.
Right.
Like you lost your money, like we're out. Like, and same thing with the guys and stuff. So it's just kind of like when they show you who they are, you got to like roll with it and then move forward. But yeah, I hate that. I really do. I hate that you deal with the haters and stuff like that. And I do want to.
Don't really like to my face. Yeah. Thankfully, people are 99.9% nice, which I appreciate that.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, when you're out and stuff, like, do you feel like you can just kind of like, do you feel like you always have to be kind of conscious of like what you're doing, or do you feel like you still have freedom to kind of like do the things you want to do?
Truthfully, if you saw me out, you'd be like, and I've had people say this to me. I was at a songwriters night, the one at Cheekwood every year. It's so beautiful. Some guy said, oh, she really is the same exact way as she is on air. And I really
appreciate that.
Yes, I appreciate that because I aim to be authentic in everything, in work, in life. This is who I am. I aim to be like a good person in the community for myself with my relationship. So, I do. I aim to be the same exact person out as I am on air.
And I think the more people should take note of that. You know what I mean? Because again, it doesn't matter. Like I went to, there's a influencer night thing for Brand House at STK or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And so
the summer solstice.
Yeah. Okay. Were you there?
No.
Okay. Did you want to go?
No, I think I had something that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, Alexandria, from News Channel 2 or 5. No, it's 5. Yeah. And Adams. Anyway, I don't know if you know who she is, but she came here and did a special about like my not drinking in the LYB kind of gym.
Yeah.
Or in there about not drinking in the new year and all this stuff and whatever. Anyway, she's best friends with my best friend. And so she was going, and then like my client ended up telling me she was going. I had gotten invited. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll go, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I ran into some people and other people I knew, whatever. But when we were there, we took a photo, and it was like me and like 4 other girls, and one of them was my client. And I told them, I was like, man, I just felt like we represented real bodies, real authentic conversations. Everybody was cool. We're just like chatting, talk about life. Like it was, you know, it was like not superficial. And so many of those events, it always seems to be very like, oh, you know, and I hate that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I really want to go into this. Like I've been up all day. Like I've been doing stuff, whatever. I'm here. I'm gonna have some fun. I was dancing around, you know, everybody else is drinking. I'm like, what's up? And we're just like having fun. And it felt so beautiful because, you know, I wanted to see representation that way, not so done up to the T, which I get it. Some people want to do that and live that life. That's fine. But I had no one to impress. You know what I mean? I was networking and like, I met the girl, I forget her name, but she's like the host of the Bobby Bone show. Like,
Okay,
she's with her.
yeah.
And she was really sweet and like, got to talk with her and have real conversations. Like, it was just cool, you know, and it was such a vibe. And so that was really awesome. And so I'm finding that more and more now, I'm finding more authentic relationships like that. And also too, not the fear of like asking people to do things. Cause the worst they can say is no.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so like one of them had asked them like, yeah, like maybe we should go out sometime or whatever. It's like, my vibe is not really the bars, but like, you know, if you want to go do something fun, that's like an activity, like we just all went and rode ATVs like
fun.
recently, and it was so fun, right? But like doing stuff like that, like I want to experience new things. And I've always been like that. I've always been like kind of like I'll do things once, like you know what I mean. Like, let's go on to the next because there's so many things to do.
I always used to say I'm a professional at trying new things.
Yes, yeah, I love that. That's so perfect
Yeah.
because that's exactly right. And it's not because I don't have great times doing those things. I just feel like there's so much to accomplish. There's very few things that I'll do like over again, you know, or if I do it, it's in a different way.
Well, I will say, you know, I've gone to those events. Plenty of them. And you're actually really inspiring me now because typically I will post up at a table and just like hang out with my friends that I know. So you're inspiring me. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think too, it's like those spaces kind of it's easy to do that. Right. But like, I don't know, man, the DJ was going and I was like, let's just see. I recognize somebody over here, talk to them. Like, it was just like a cool, like, it was just all of it, you know? And that's the thing too. It's like, that's at my core who I am, you know, beside all the, you know, when you look at I think we have like our higher version of ourselves and our lower version of ourselves, right? And I always want to strive for that higher version. And so for me, it's like, I know the lower version can happen, right? But I'm going to be my best to be intentional with the time that I have and to make those relationships and at least, you know, listen and be that listening ear for somebody or because I get back so much from people, as do you, I'm sure. And it's like, even just being there and hearing their stories and stuff like that, it's just like cool, you know?
I love that you said I have a higher and I have a lower because that's literally going back to your mission of like loving yourself as who you are because we do have high days, we have low days. And I think when you're in those low days, as we were talking about, you know, when you're in that rut, when you can't see, when you're in that challenge, the hero's journey, and you're like, I don't even see the way out. You have to check in with yourself and say, it's okay. And my favorite line recently has been, it's not always going to be like this.
Oh, I love that.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're having a rough day, it's not always going to be like this. Or if you're having a tough time making friends, it's not always going to be like this.
Yeah.
And say that in your mind because really and truly, it's a fact in life.
Right.
Nothing ever stays the same.
Correct. Yeah. No, I love that. That's so great. Say that again one more time for everybody.
Nothing ever, it's not going to last forever.
Okay.
It's not going to last forever.
I love that. I heard something that was similar of like, if you just go to sleep and like the next day, like is a new day. You know what I mean? Like if you can just go to sleep the next day. So it's like, instead of wallowing in it or getting super upset or whatever, it's like, go to sleep. The next day is a new day. And that really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And so I love that.
And journaling too, like to get those feelings off of your mind and soul.
Yeah. No, 100%. Didn't I, when I gave you your little goodie bag?
Yes.
Did I give you a
Oh,
journal?
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I gave you a journal. Look at that.
And I had the
And your
Danity shaker.
bottle?
Yes, I
Yay.
should have brought it. Darn.
That's okay. That's okay. They know. They know you're going. Yeah. Way to promote, guys. Way to. No, it's okay. You drink it in front of all the other people every day, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. We see Laura like on the news the next day. She's
Right.
like drinking
It's on the side table
Right.
tomorrow.
Just sitting there, and I'm like, she's like testing me to see if I'm watching.
Yes.
Like, Danny.
Shameless plug. Hey.
I get it. I totally get that. Oh my gosh. I do that sometimes on my posts. I'll like put something crazy, and I'm like to see if someone's actually reading my captions. And I'll literally be like free session in the caption. Now everybody's gonna like go look, and like they don't, like no one comments. I'm like, you didn't read the whole thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I always try to like mess with them a little bit. But we're actually gonna close up this segment, okay? And I loved having you on. This was amazing, and thank you so much. And we're actually gonna go on to my Patreon. So we'll do a little episode there. So that's where we talk kind of more exclusively. And so we'll do that. So if you have not yet subscribed to Patreon, please do so. Danny D After Dark, and we'll see you there.